And this is a large scale, potentially very large scale asset as well.
For the second half of 2026, we have roughly $8-9 million in the bank account. So it's definitely a major milestone. At the end of the day, the philosophy for the mining sector is to be an efficient operation on a full-scale basis. We are in town, so just to give you an idea, we can go to the site tomorrow morning with an asphalt road right in the door of the office.
Have you got any idea why the market is not recognizing that yet?
I will say in the next 4 to 5 years, Falco can be an answer to that question.
Welcome back to the Investing Markets and Money podcast, brought to you by the Armchair Trader. And today we're talking Canadian mining, specifically Falco Resources, a mining story that many of you have probably not heard of. It's been flying under the radar a little bit, but we're joined by Luc Lessard, CEO of Falco, who's going to tell us a little bit more about their Horne Five project. So welcome to the podcast, Luc.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. Very appreciate it.
So to start off with, for those who, and that will be most of our listeners, are not familiar with Falco or Horne Five, can you give us an overview of the project?
Yeah, perfectly. So basically what we have in front of us is a major VMS system in Abitibi region. So we are in the Rouyn-Noranda, close to the town. So it's a worldwide deposit, polymetallic with base metal and precious metal. So we have 4 elements, including gold and silver and copper and zinc. So it's an underground mining operation project, I would say. And what we are looking right now is to, first of all, we published the update feasibility study on June 17, so 2 weeks ago. And right now we are looking to file all the main report on CEDAR in a couple of weeks. So it's definitely a major milestone. Parallel to that, we are working with the Quebec institution, the environmental department, so to finish all the analysis of the project, environmental analysis. And we have to release some additional studies as requested by the regulators. So the plan right now is to finalize all the documentation, submit to the regulators for their final analysis, and submit their report to the Minister of the Environmental Department. So I would say that the last couple of months were very busy with the update feasibility study. And again, the next couple of months will be very intense with the final documentation we have to submit to the regulators.
And just to clarify, I mean, we've had a number of Canadian miners on the podcast before, but most of them are actually in British Columbia, but this is actually a project in Quebec, which is governed by Quebec's own provincial regulations.
So we are in Quebec. The regulation is very clear, no doubt on this. So all the BAP process, we call that BAP, but it's a public hearing process. So that's the exercise has been done fully in 2024. The report has been filed on the public domain in January 2025. So from there, all the documentation we submit during the environmental analysis has been looked by the regulators. We receive few questions, we give them answers, clarifications. So during that time, all the process is continuing. And now we are very at the final stage of the process because I would say most of the challenges has been response positively to the government. And now we are on, I will say, on a couple of items we need to clarify. So experts are working on the field, put the data on the models, and we have the intention to submit all the information, say by end of July, beginning of August of this year. And normally, that will give time to the regulators to take a look of all the documentation we submit in clarification mode, to be able to send the final recommendation to the minister, hopefully this autumn.
And you mentioned the feasibility study. Can you give us a little bit more color on that and what that involved, what you were able to release to the market?
Yeah, so basically the last document was released in 2021. So the feasibility 2021 has been updated following the latest years of escalation on different construction items, labor force, etc. But also we take into account the latest improvement on the commodity prices, specifically for gold. So as I remember, the feasibility study to 2021 has been based on $1,600 per gold for the 2021 version. Today, the 2026 is based on the base case of $3,600 per ounces for gold. So big gap between the two studies. And the number is very robust. So it was really a financial exercise, I will say. The mining operation, processing, metallurgy is the same, reserve is the same. So specifically, we changed all the economic figures following the latest years of escalation and movement in the market conditions for the commodity price, and the result is good. As I said, the NPV5 right now on the $3,600 per ounces is say close to $3.4 billion Canadian. The IRR is roughly at 28%. So very robust economics. And that's a good demonstration to the market of the quality of the asset going forward.
And this is a large scale, potentially very large scale asset as well. I think that's true, isn't it?
So if we are looking in Quebec province right now, we don't have a lot of project at this stage. So we are in Abitibi region. The closer one is probably the Windfall project owned by Goldfield, and they are on the processing stage right now. Not processing, but permitting stage at this point of time, as us. So basically, I would say we don't have a lot of comparable project on the street right now, specifically in Canada.
And I mean, looking at the share price at the moment, it still looks relatively cheap compared with the feasibility study you've put out. Have you got any idea why the market is not recognizing that yet?
So basically, and I understand your point. So during the last, say, 5 years, we did marketing exercise, but the point was, where are you on the permitting stage? Where are you with the feasibility of study update? So we crossed few roads that I would say in the last 4 to 5 years, and the market not understand all the quality of the asset because the update feasibility was not really completed, and also no clarity of feasibility of the permitting final answer from the government. So I will say today with the update feasibility study on the street, the clarification of the permit specifically for the decree on the near term can give to the market a real conditions for the, I will say, the price improvement on the Falco shares. But again, it's a step-by-step process. First thing was the feasibility study update. The numbers are available, good quality in terms of result. And I'm pretty sure the people or the market will understand the decrease coming, and Falco is preparing for the next level for the project execution.
And are you thinking about any further financing for the project and what that might be, what that might look like going forward?
Yeah, basically for the second half of 2026, we have roughly $8-9 million in the bank account. So with the elements we have in place to complete. So put the feasibility study on SEDAR, finalize the documentation we have to submit to the regulators. We're also considering to initiate some specific detail engineering, mainly related to the dewatering program. And yes, do marketing and I would say look all the opportunity for project financing, long-term project financing. I would say for the second half of the year, I think the actual cash is okay. If we have to do a cash requirement, would be at the end of the year to prepare the 2027 period of time.
And have you done any analysis, or can you say how Horne Five stacks up against similar projects of that scale and that nature in Canada?
So if we are looking specifically in the, I would say, the similar operation already in place, Young Davidson from Alamos is probably the most comparable operation compared with Falco Horne Five because they have base metal contained. The production level was in the range of 8,000 tons a day. They are in Ontario, we are in Quebec. The other one is probably the LaRonde operation owned by Inco Eagle, something around 6,000 tons a day. They have base metal content also. They are deeper levels. They are 3,000 meters deep from the surface, underground mining. But in our case, the particularity of the unique situation of Falco is the shape of the deposit. It's a real VMS system. Just to give you an idea, the dimension of the ore body or the envelope is 2 kilometers high, 1 kilometer long, and the thickness of the envelope is 100 meters. So we are not checking vein type mineralization system at all. It's really a big, massive system, and that gives us the opportunity to operate with the most efficient operations, including the electrical vehicles, equipment removed from the surface. It will be a platform, a real platform for the new technologies, that's for sure. And at the end of the day, the philosophy for the mining sector is to be an efficient operation on a full scale basis. On the processing side, as you know, we have to deal with precious metal, but also base metal. So we have to produce concentrate. So we have a copper concentrate, we have a zinc concentrate, and those concentrate, we have an offtake agreement with Glencore. So the copper will be directly shipped to the Horne smelter. And in the zinc case, Glencore has two options, in Montreal at CSZ or in Europe, depending on the market conditions. So we have lots of things done already, ready for the next level. So as I said, feasibility study in place, permitting is progressing well. We are targeting by the end of the year for the decree. And following that, it will be the project financing and decision-making about the execution.
And you have some pretty good infrastructure backing this project up as well.
Yeah, basically, we are in town. So just to give you an idea, we can go to the site tomorrow morning with an asphalt road right in the door of the office. We have access to the Horne, not the Horne, but the Quemont shaft already in place. We have to do the rehabilitation of the shaft, but it's already sink. Dimension is the right dimension for our application. We have to do, we'll say, a dewatering phases that will take roughly a 2 years period of time, but it's comparable for a shaft sinking in terms of timing, but it's more easy in terms of work. Pumping is, I will say, the first step. We have to deal with the water, so we have to treat the water to discharge to the grid. So all the equipment has been purchased already, stored in the site. Same thing for the two service hoists. The hoisting facilities, not the hoisting, but the hoisting building facilities is already built. So we take the advantage of some elements to be ready at the moment the decree will be in place to initiate the dewatering phase as soon as we can.
And basically, let's say hypothetically, I'm a mining major. I'm shopping around for projects in Quebec. What do you think it is about Horne Five that would be attractive to a large acquirer like that?
So one thing you have to understand is because of the efficiencies of the operation of Falco, specifically for the mining area, and also because of the byproduct credit we receive from the copper and zinc concentrate, so we can achieve a low cost producer level. So the all-in sustaining cost is below $800 US per ounces. So compared with the major producer, the average is probably today in the range of $1,400 US per ounces. And now we are talking about below $800 US per ounces. So definitely just based on the all-in sustaining costs, we are very attractive. The other point is, yes, we will be near-term producer. So for the people who's looking to increase their production of gold, I will say in the next 4 to 5 years, Falco can be an answer to that question.
It certainly sounds like a very efficient project in that respect, then most definitely.
Yeah, Falco, the Horne Five deposit, because again, the shape, the envelope, the technology we are planning to use, the size of the deposit, we have good advantage just for the geology side, I would say. To be in town, that will eliminate all the logistics issues for the transportation. We don't have any fly-in, fly-out for the workers. So we are dealing with a low complexity in terms of logistics. We have a good relationship with the local supplier to supply us all the goods during the operation. So, for example, we don't have to build a big warehouse. We don't have to put in place a lay-down area for materials inventories because we have 24 hours a day, 24 hours a day, yes, 7 days a week, services from the local supplier to give us services during the next 15 to 20 years. So this is really a good advantage to be in Rouyn-Noranda, and this is important to understand. Rouyn-Noranda is very well served on contracting, on equipment suppliers, service suppliers, construction workforce, labor force for mining. So good infrastructure for schools and to do trainings. We have the ZIM, the innovation zone on mining, in place since 3 months. Those doctors will be in contact with us during the operation just to have a good platform or a grid to be exchanged the new technology. That's will help the mining industry, but that will help also all the community to progress in that sense.
That sounds very good, and it sounds to me like you will have quite a lot of news coming through over the next 6 months as well. Some catalysts for the project.
Yeah. So we have different items on the list, but definitely we have news flows coming in the pipeline. So be connected with us, and it will be a pleasure for us to give you the latest news.
Fantastic. Well, we'll be following the project with interest. But thank you very much for coming on the podcast today and giving us a very interesting introduction to Falco Resources. Thanks very much, Luc.
Thank you very much for your time. Very appreciate again.
The content of this podcast is for information and entertainment purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. The views and opinions expressed by guests or hosts are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of the Armchair Trader. Investments can go up and down in value, and you may not get back the amount you originally invested. Past performance is not a reliable indicator of future results. We do not provide any personal investment, tax, or legal advice. Always do your own research or seek independent professional advice before making any financial decisions. The Armchair Trader is a media company and is not authorized or regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.